G'day everyone, Willow here. I just wanted to show everybody young Kyle. Kyle's 13 years old, playing off about 24 at the moment, I think it is. We've been working a little while on his swing. Kyle is very, very flexible. Kyle has got very long limbs, very long levers, and we can see that flexibility in the long levers in his golf swing here. So it takes the club back a little bit inside. The grip's a little bit strong, so it takes it back a little bit shut. Gets it to the top, club shut behind his head here. He's now tries to recover that, so to drop the club underneath and really tuck that elbow under. But right here, the club face is pretty closed. He's now releasing the club into out. So you see the club here. So if I put a line on the ground underneath the club leading into the golf ball, he's actually attacking it that way. So it looks like the ball wants to go, or he's going to hit it out to right field, and he's trying to manage a closed face. So this in particular one started out to the right, and you can see through to finish. You can see the back of the club if we come through here, really closes over. So the club's pointing over towards the ground again. There's the block out to the right, and it's going to try and hook back to the target. So Kyle's misses were big blocks and big hooks, especially with driver. And that's just swinging from way in to out with that closed face. Back foot's already way up off the ground. And have a look at the flexibility he's got and how low he gets this right side. It's quite unbelievable. So hurts me just looking at it. And I'm sure it does everybody watching this video. So we've worked on trying to get Kyle a little bit more upright, but because the club face is so shut and he works it under, I mean, it's not going to happen. Stays back on it. And you can really see that flip of the golf club and the wrist through here. Really trying to work it over because he's swinging so far into out through here. Club face is really shut. So what we did work on was feeling like we're going to hit a little fade. Just want to control that downswing a little bit better. So still take it a bit inside, a little bit less shut. But amazingly, when we go to hit the little fade, even though the face is still shut, the club stops at the top in a much, much better position, just through feel, because he knows he can't, or he doesn't want to drop it under, so doesn't get it all the way around here all of a sudden. So we actually didn't talk about the length of the backswing, so that was a nice little surprise, where he knows he wants to bring the club down a bit steeper, so he doesn't want to get it round behind his head so much. So it's a lot more on plane here, pointing towards the target. Yes, the face is a bit shut, wrist is a little bit arched, but I'm happy with that at the moment. Big improvement right now. So you're going to see a big improvement on the downswing. So he's really holding that right side under and hanging back and dipping down. But now that club's in line with his hands, and he doesn't look as dip down into it. His head's not buried down. You can actually see room under his chin. The right foot, trailing foot, isn't quite so high anymore. So that's another positive sign here. There's less gap in between his arms, just in here. So there's a lot less gap there. He's not really coming from inside and holding on. So now instead of coming from in here and hitting blocks and draws, Kyle is coming down a bit straighter on the golf ball, ever so slightly outside there, holding onto the face. He's trying to hit a little fade here. And you'll see through the golf ball, the net result of that is no more flip. So you see how the club stays outside of his hands. But the biggest thing also is the distance between his body and his hands here to here is a hell of a lot less. So he's starting to come around a little bit better on the through swing and hit that fade. And the ball is definitely coming out a lot straighter. Look at the back foot hanging down. He hasn't really, rolled it, got that back foot right up on the toe. Club face, you can see the back of it's blue, but you see the back of the face there. And coming up through here, face is coming up on plane. It's not so shut now. That did produce a much better ball flight, especially when he got used to it. And then I think he hit a few drivers, and the drivers, all of a sudden, trying to feel this, drivers nearly came out bang on straight or a little fade. So he's going to hit a lot higher percentage of the fairways. Now, what I did want to show everybody very quickly was this golfer right here. No, let's go up here. Here we go. So DUSTIN Johnson, not typically a swing that many, I guess, coaches or many players would model their swing on. It's hard to argue with, though. He's number one in the world, did it his way. But there are a lot of similarities between what Kyle does and what DUSTIN Johnson does. So you can see here, I mean, this is the 3-wood versus an iron, but you're going to see here some similarities because he is very flexible with really long levers, long limbs. So getting up to the top here, if I take Dustin Johnson back a little bit, you're going to see some similarities there in the swing right now. We are looking at Dustin to see he's bowing a little bit more, turning a little bit more, all that sort of stuff. We'll work on that. We're going to see on the way down now some similarities. So here and then here. So you see the back foot coming up, hips are trying to turn. There's a gap in between the forearms. The club head's coming down in line or just outside the hands to hit his little fade. That's starting to marry up to a really good player. And we did see that improvement in ball flight. So we see down through the golf ball now, there's the club head working slightly left and the ball taking off slightly right. There's Dustin Johnson's little fade. Come down with Kyle into the golf ball. So we're starting to see that trailing arm stay under the left forearm, but not as much as what Kyle was doing before. The hips, the legs. The only thing that I did mention was the lower back through here. This lower back's still a bit steep. So I actually got a big impact bag set it here and just got Kyle to push back into that a little bit after this video. It did look a little bit better, but I did like this swing and how it did marry up with Dustin Johnson in the video. So you can see there looking a lot more similarities through. So the hands are coming around the corner and the club head catches up to the hands. Club comes around the corner, actually stays outside, but I do believe, and we can see it through impact, that the club reroutes and bounces up a little bit, so not quite around. And then coming through into finish and the club on plane, coming through to finish and the club more on plane. So now the club face marries up with what Dustin Johnson was doing as well. Similar plane as well. Some nice, tilt forwards, good shoulder plane. The back foot is in a similar position as well. Hips is turning. It started marrying up and we started seeing so many similarities. I think it was worth just showing everybody here because it's quite impressive. But the shots were there to match too. The ball was coming out straighter or fading instead of big blocks and big hooks. And yeah, so I'll give everybody an update, no doubt, in the future, and I'll be bragging when he gets down to single figures. Hopefully that'll happen soon. But I think these school holidays, so he'll be playing a bit of golf now. He's off 24. I'm hopeful that if he can start feeling like he's fading the ball and have a bit more control, hit some more fairways. He's got a pretty good short game, so I think in a short amount of time he'll be down to, hopefully he's well under 20, but his handicap will start dropping. So, just thought I'd show everybody what a good result we got tonight. And it doesn't always have to be the typical Adam Scott swings to get a result. We just have to marry up a few components and just get that club down onto the ball with a bit of control, which Kyle then did a lot better on that, and it did look like a really good player. So we just married it up side by side, and there was a lot of similarities. So it's so I hope everybody enjoyed this video. I know it was a bit of a long one, but I was excited to see it start to marry up with a good player, and the young fella should start improving soon. Until next time, we'll catch you later.